Hey folks, today is Friday, December 12th, 2025. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. Pardon the setup, I'm currently traveling, I'm in town for the Game Awards, and we will talk about that. We did a whole roundup video of all the announcements, that'll be linked below. I'll talk about some of my favorite stuff, but believe it or not, despite the Game Awards taking up the whole timeline, there was other gaming news to talk about this week. Right, and one of the things that definitely popped off earlier this week was what might potentially be one of the bigger flops of 2025. I think that might be a little crazy considering we had things like Mind's Eye this year, which I played, and it broke me. But the newest victim on the chopping block is more interesting because it's another failure on the pile of live service attempts. And this comes from the Amazon Games published King of Meat. You may remember this announced last year. I think it was at Gamescom. Got a big flashy reveal. It's a party-style game, a fun, lighthearted multiplayer game with some creativity to it, but it has released. Did you know? I didn't know. I talk about video games as my job, and I did not even know until I started seeing articles and stuff pop up saying, hey, remember this game? Well, it failed. With Insider Gaming reporting the studio, Glowmade Games, doing layoffs, but also PC Gamer reporting that according to SteamDB, the player count peaked at 320 people, and that was during the game doing like a free-to-play weekend. That doesn't include console numbers. We don't know like the PlayStation, Xbox numbers, but I don't think they're gonna be that much better considering I thought this game kind of felt tailored for somewhat of a PC audience, a younger PC audience, but still. And the report from PC Gamer also states that the studio was expecting 100,000 concurrent players for this game, and the fact that they got to 320 sounds to me like a brutal failure and really like a big question of what happened, because they spent money on the game. That's the thing. People think that it wasn't advertised, they let it out to die, but when you look into it, they did try. They had that big reveal at Gamescom, they had ads that like people did take account of them, they did sponsored Twitch streams, they even did a full-ass Mr. Beast video, like a whole dedicated Mr. Beast gaming video to this game, and it barely made a dent. And that's pretty crazy. Number one, I think some people are really tired of the live service thing, but also on the studio side, for them, I feel like Amazon's not even gonna give a shit. For them, they put out a gamble, they spent a bunch of money, hoping they would crack that live service code. They didn't this time around, and they just write it off on their number sheet while a bunch of people get laid off. Is it the name, King of Meat? Is that just like not a good sounding name for a game? It's quirky, but is it gross? I don't know, but I guess it proves sometimes like the gaming world is a fickle mistress. The audience is tough, right? Because they can spend money and like you can try and put your game out there, but sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes it's other things like viral, word of mouth, organic, or just little advertisements, more effective stuff here and there. We've seen other way smaller games crop up and blow up that totally surpassed King of Meat, which had the backing of Amazon. The thing too is that like when I saw the initial reveal trailer, it didn't even look like a bad game. So really, I don't know what happened here, but it definitely landed with a thud. I think also the fact that people are just so busy with so many other games. Look, I know people think there aren't enough good games and stuff like that, but the amount of titles there are is pretty staggering, and especially live service and multiplayer titles begging for people's infinite time, right? So for another one of those to come by and ask people to endlessly play it and not make a splash and just kind of end on a whimper, there you go. It just feels like a big waste of time for everybody. But yeah, that was it. That's one of the bigger flops of 2025 for sure. I don't have anything like insightful or positive to like end this story on, so we'll just move on. Speaking of corporations screwing up like the previous story, let's talk about Activision, Blizzard, and Call of Duty. After the launch of Black Ops 7 and just like a lot of conversation online about that release and some of the issues with that game, the development studio behind Call of Duty, the whole thing came out with this big old wall of text. It's one of those. The big thing is that they're changing their strategy with how they release games, and I quote, "We will no longer do back-to-back releases of Modern Warfare or Black Ops games. The reasons are many, but the main one is to ensure we provide an absolutely unique experience each and every year. We will drive innovation that is meaningful, not incremental," which is like a no-brainer, dude. Like, yes, obviously, like Black Ops 6 was great, so a company wants to ride on the momentum of that and release a Black Ops 7. It's such a short period of time. People are still recovering from the last one, and the whole thing with Call of Duty was them shaking it up, kind of kept it interesting. I still think they should go a step further than this and not release a game every year. But at least now they're not going to do a Call of Duty Modern Warfare and then another Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Is that enough? I don't know. But the fact that they are admitting some sort of change up, a little bit of a defeat, something like that is interesting. They also announced in this that they are doing seasonal support, like they are still committing to that. They also announced a free-to-play weekend with like free trial for zombies and multiplayer for Black Ops 7 and like a double XP weekend. So there you have it. Again, this is all great, but like I wish they would take the time, take a year or so off. Really build up excitement for Call of Duty again. Take the time and the resources and the infinite money you have to really blow people away again and truly innovate like the older days of Call of Duty. Because when it was at the peak and it was always refreshing and always exciting, you just had to be there, man. Oh, and just a follow-up from our report last week, we talked, of course, about Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers Game Studio, specifically for us, for gamers, being acquired by Netflix. That seems like that's still going to be a thing. It's still shaking out. But along with that, a report came out this week from Bloomberg stating that there was a lot that could have been, with EA being acquired by private equity firms and like the whole Saudi Arabia thing. Apparently, Netflix was considering buying EA at a point, quote, alongside potential bids for Disney and Fox. Apparently, according to this report, like Netflix was like looking into beefing up their gaming division, not really sure what they were doing, obviously from what we've seen in the past, and they were considering buying EA. Companies all the time do the math, and they're always looking around and they're doing reports on buying other companies. We don't know how far it actually would have gotten, but I just thought that was a little interesting nugget of like a what could have been, or like an alternate history. Either way, alternate history aside, like a company is always going to buy another company. They're all swallowing each other up at this point. Also, Deus Ex remastered, remember that was announced a couple of months ago? Some of the visual changes, the tweaks were divisive, and that actually led to this development studio delaying the game. Deus Ex remastered was slated for February 5th, 2026. Now they said that they've listened to the feedback and they are delaying the game so they can meet fan expectations. But no new release date yet, so we have no idea. Hey, now next up, before we keep going, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Displate. If you don't know, Displate is the go-to place to make your living room, your dorm room, your work area, your apartment, your gaming room look way cooler. Ditch any of those old cheap paper posters you got and replace them with these. Displate offers these real metal posters that look awesome. I've had them on my walls for years now. They have over 2 million displays in their catalog, covering all types of stuff, unique art, but also tons of cool brands. You got World of Warcraft, Fallout, Call of Duty, Cyberpunk, The Witcher, Elden Ring, you name it. I like putting up movie and gaming posters, but also you have the option of texture, which adds a little bit of an extra layer of different finishes and textures to the poster. Like here, I can feel the Doom logo popping out. They also offer these custom ones if you want to get a little creative, maybe a family photo or something cool you made, you can have this on your own custom display. And with this holiday season, that makes for a hell of a good gift. Me personally here, I got the gameranx logo just to remind me where I work. It's easy, foolproof too. A sticker leaf on your wall and then a magnet, and the bad boy goes right on. It takes seconds and it can make your walls look really cool. So like I said, it is the holiday season. A Displate makes for a perfect gift for anyone because there's the custom option and so many choices. So if you want to check it out, Displate has some killer discounts for you. 1 to 2 displays is 33% off. 3 displays, you get 38% off. 4 or more displays, you get 40% off. So if you want to take advantage of that, just click the link in the description down below. Again, head to Displate, click the link in the description down below to take advantage of these great sales on screen here. Go get them, have fun, and big thanks to Displate for sponsoring this video. Now back to the news. Also, in other news, it feels like history is repeating itself, but unfortunately, Dead Space is back on ice. At least if you believe Insider Gaming, reporting from their insider sources on their podcast, they discussed that they heard that from sources within EA that the Dead Space the brand, the IP is on ice. Apparently, according to him too, just like the way the company's set up and the way like they feel about certain things, it doesn't seem like it's going to get picked up anytime soon. Like there's not a lot of higher up interest. And that's probably because of sales. We talked about that probably like a couple of months back, that there was potential of them doing a Dead Space 2 remake, but sales weren't high enough. So Dead Space was once on ice for a very long time, famously. That was the phrase used. And now here we are again in 2025, Dead Space once again on ice. And that sucks, because that remake was actually really, really good. They did a really good job with it. Motive did it, and I loved it. And it felt like we could have had something. Maybe even a new Dead Space game. But doesn't seem like that's the case, at least for right now. Last but certainly not least, the Game Awards. Like I said, if you want to see a full roundup of all the games announced, that'll be linked in the description down below. But I'll give you a couple here. I'll get you filled in on some of the big stuff. And the awards, the awards are always up for debate, right? But Expedition 33 cleaned house, picking up a bunch, like best game direction, best indie game, best debut indie game, and Game of the Year. Also, Jennifer English as Mael getting Best Performance. So Expedition 33 totally cleaned up, and all I'm gonna say, like I did the before you buy, I love the game, I love the music more than anything, but I previewed the game at Gamescom like almost like 2 years ago, and I came back from Gamescom saying, hey, this game's gonna be pretty sick, guys, and nobody believed me. Nobody wanted to hear me, but there is a video out there of me talking about it. And yeah, I just like to pat myself on the back once in a while. Now, in terms of the things announced, there was quite a bit, but the roundup video we did miss a couple of things. Falcon and the guys, they've recorded it very early in the morning. Okay, we were all really tired, but a significant one is Total War Warhammer 40K. This is absolutely huge for the Warhammer franchise, and the fact that not only did they reveal it, but they showed some gameplay. The gameplay looks out of this world. I am not a hardcore 40K guy, but I can't imagine them like looking at those visuals and not shitting their pants. Also, we're getting a new Forest game, Forest 3. It feels like Forest 2 just happened, but it's now called Forest 3, and it looks a hell of a lot different. It's sci-fi. It's got like weird eldritch horrors to it. I don't know. There's something cooking here. Also, Gang of Dragon. This just looks cool. We were talking about this after the fact, just calling it like thick Kiru or like wide Kiru-san. Like that's the game, but this could be like a really cool brawler or something going on here. Also, Mega Man Dual Overdrive. This was like a big hype moment reveal that Mega Man is back, and we're getting another classic style 2D Mega Man game. They made it feel like it's been like an incredibly long time, but I don't know, maybe people have short memory spans. Either way, it's still nice to see Mega Man back in some shape or form, and Capcom confident enough to just keep doing it the old school way and not trying to make Mega Man an open world action RPG, you know, or some shit like that. They're sticking to what they know here. Also, one last thing we missed was Lords of the Fallen 2. Technically, it's the third Lords of the Fallen game, but like, don't look into it. This follows up the last game, which was pretty cool, and they could definitely build on a lot, and the trailer was absolutely awesome. But in terms of like the big greatest hits for the Game Awards to get you caught up, the first is Control 2. It is called Control Resonant. It seems like it's going to be coming out in 2026, and it was a great trailer, setting the stage, New York, and it's Dylan Fate, and now you're playing as Jesse's brother, and it looks like it's going to be melee combat focused. Which, like, holy shit, the way they showed it, it looks crazy. It's like Remedy making a Devil May Cry style combat game in the world of, you know, their shit. I think this is really cool. I also like that they didn't just make Control 2 and it's like the same old thing. Like they're trying to keep things interesting and shake things up, and I'll always commend them for that. Also, the statue that like was teasing something, that statue that went viral in the middle of the desert. Everyone was like, what is this game gonna be? Turns out it is a new game from Larian, the people recently behind Baldur's Gate 3. This is a new Divinity game. It's just called Divinity. It's not like Divinity Original Sin 3 or anything like that. I think that's cool. More people getting a new shot at this world. The trailer we got was absolutely disgusting. Just a bunch of crazy gore, like insane shit. Kind of reminding me of a Diablo cinematic Blizzard trailer, but we also got one of those too for an expansion. Weirdly enough, the Game Awards ended on a live service hero shooter, which felt kind of like a wet fart. I will say it looked a little bit more creative than the average one. This is called High Guard, and essentially it's kind of like an Apex Legends Destiny hero shooter thing with like mystical horses. Like you can ride on horses and shoot guns. I don't know. Conceptually, I'm down to at least give it a shot. And it's not releasing too far off. Like I said, it's like a new studio from a lot of the people that worked on Apex Legends and Titanfall, so it could have the gameplay chops. It's really crazy that they saved it for the last game. Maybe it means that it's actually really that fun to play. I don't know. But thankfully, we'll be able to get our hands on it and check it out early 2026. Also, we got a good look at Exodus. This game was previously revealed, but now we got gameplay and a lot more cinematics and stuff. This is from a lot of former BioWare people. And essentially, from what I've heard on the street, they are essentially doing more Mass Effect. Obviously, it's a new sci-fi universe. The sci-fi stuff they have going on here is really, really cool. But essentially, they're going to capture that feel of a Mass Effect-style RPG. And I'm really excited for this. This is, from this trailer, quickly shot up to like the top of my most anticipated. Along with that, Star Wars fans are eating good. 2 back-to-back Star Wars games. KOTOR has returned, but it's like a whole new-ass KOTOR game. It's Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic, specifically with one of the OGs. Casey Hudson is leading it. That's huge. He was one of the originals from back in the day with the KOTOR games and great RPGs. He also had recently had a project that fell through. So it's cool that like one of the old guards is back working on something like this. And, you know, he was the original director of Knights of the Old Republic. He worked on Mass Effect and stuff like that. So this could potentially be something. Along with that, we got a new Star Wars racing game. It feels like it's like the early 2000s all over again, and I'm happy. This is Star Wars Galactic Racer, and I'm all in. I'm a sucker for this shit. Sorry. Also, No Law really caught my eye. This is like a cyberpunky first-person adventure where you're just like a badass dude with a mustache. The visuals, everything, the action just looked really, really good. Almost like it had some immersive sim elements as well. And Amazon is going all in on Tomb Raider, it seems. We're getting 2 Tomb Raider titles. We're getting a unified Lara Croft, a combination of old school style Lara Croft and the reboot Lara Croft, and I think she looks pretty cool, but the big thing here is that they're all in on it in a crazy way. So there's Tomb Raider Catalyst, which is going to be like a 2027 beyond. It looks like this big, massive, ambitious new Tomb Raider thing. That was more of a tease. We also got a reveal of 2026 Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, which is yet another remake of the original 1996 classic. And it looks great. It looks pretty cool. I think like the return to like old school style Lara Croft is needed. It's good. Seeing her wielding the 2 pistols and shooting, but also most importantly, doing pirouettes and backflips and doing the handstand pull up from the ledge. That shit hits for older players. So it's curious to see if this is worth them going all in on it. I hope this is good. We haven't seen this really recently, like a 1-2 punch kind of follow-up of game releases like that. You're gonna have Fate of Atlantis in not Fate of Atlantis. Did I just call it Fate of Atlantis? That's Indiana Jones. Easy mistake to make. Legacy of Atlantis gonna be 2026, and then Catalyst some point 2027 right behind it. That's interesting. We don't really see that, so I'm curious to see how that's gonna go down. Also, you know I was going to end on the best, my favorite, my GOAT, Leon S. Kennedy, returning, the worst kept secret, but he is returning for Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Seems like it's going to be a joint thing where you play as both Grace and Leon, and we got to look like a brief glimpse at Leon combat, and it is Resident Evil 4 style Leon kicking ass, using a chainsaw at a point. I'm very happy to see this as an old school Resident Evil fan from literally day one. I'm still skeptical because like they baited me in with Village with Chris Redfield, and that still kind of wasn't like enough for me. But I think this game is so far hitting all the right notes. Leon is really cool, but also just like the setting, the style, the atmosphere, the villains that they have shown. I am very intrigued. Also, I really hope one day I can age as well as Leon has, because damn, nice job, buddy. Like I know he's not real, but still, anyway, I've talked enough. That's the gaming news for this week. That's everything you really need to know, everything that's really going on. So let me know in the comments what you think about the news we talked about with Call of Duty, trying to change up the formula a little bit to that big flop, King of Meat. Were you one of the couple of 100 people that played it? Let me know your favorite moments from the Game Awards, if there was an announcement you liked. I think there was at least one reveal for somebody. Like, you know, some people were like, I watched it, I hated every game reveal. I don't believe you. There's got to be at least one game there that caught your eye, so let me know what you think in the comments. Let's talk about anything gaming news at all, really. Hit me up down below. If you want to hear my in-depth thoughts personally on all the Game Awards stuff, I'm posting a video on my YouTube channel later today, youtube.com/Jake Baldino if you want to check that out. But thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. That's all I got now. I got to get back to work, but have a great weekend. Be safe. Pizza's on me. See ya.